Hi everyone, it's Georgia. I hope you are doing well. I know I haven't been on for a while. Um, there's just been a lot going on in terms of, me wanting to make sure that I'm kind of staying stable. And I don't mean stable, well, yes, I guess I do mean stable in my mind. Because there's so many things happening around us that so easily detour us from stability. And stability is such an important factor. And maybe another word is predictability. Now, I know there's so much of life that we can't predict. But what I'm talking about is that inner stability and that inner predictability. Because most of life is not predictable. And obviously, it is very frequently unstable. So, what I've been doing, and I think that's really been part of my whole healing journey, is just making sure that my inner rudder is going where I want it to be. And some of that has required some time for me to get really clear about the direction that I'm going. In the direction that you're going, you have to at least have some kind of trajectory in the mind, because otherwise you literally are just reacting and not intentionally creating. When we're reacting, at least when I am reactive, I'm moving usually from fear, right? Or the external environments, activities around me, or my own emotional baggage that comes up. Those are all the traditional things that make me reactive. Or if somebody makes me angry, which is, really goes back to my own inability to regulate emotions. So all of those things make me reactive. And I know that when I am reactive, I am not moving from my rudder, my focus. So, not being on YouTube has meant that I have really just been getting honed in, and I hope that you are too, honed in on what matters to you, what matters to your life, what is the reflection of the life that you want to have in this world. And I've been thinking a lot about that and getting clearer and clearer every single day. Because, I feel very strongly about, if you think it, you create it. If you create it even first in your mind, it will manifest in some form. But we have to know where we're going, right? And we also have to know that rudder is just a rudder. Waves are going to come in, wind is going to blow. I might move a little to the nautical north. I might move a little to the nautical south. But my rudder always is, Georgia, is this your passion place? Is it your truth? And at this point in my life, is it your joy? Because I want to be more joy-filled the rest of my life, however long that might be. I wanted to share a little interesting thing I did the other day, and I was talking about it with my son a couple of days ago, about this idea that so much of the time, the sense of our rudderedness, our focus, is also contingent upon the past renditions of ourselves, that we have defined. And about a month ago, I did something very daring. I said to the universe, yes, these are the things that I think would bring me a lot of joy. And yes, this is my rudder. But then I opened another door of possibility. And I said to the universe, I just want you to know I'm willing to become something I've never even yet imagined. Because it has been pretty clear to me that even my idea of what living passionately and being successful and abundant looks like, I realize that I still think kind of small in that arena. And I want to stretch myself into thinking about the possibilities I've not yet thought about. Because I know that I've actually become more than I thought I could be already. So that door opening, saying, I'm willing to become anything. And so the other day I did this, I just had a very strong sense that there was the old versions of me that I cling to consciously and unconsciously that say, you are this, George. Even in my spiritual life, you are a healer, you are an artist, you are this, you are that. That door lets the self-definition open up. And so the other day, I did this strange thing. I felt like I literally had to have a funeral for my old self. Because in truth, a lot of aspects of my old self, especially the old self that loves to live in fear and tries to over control and has anxiety and the renditions of myself that are mostly ego-based, they really make me upset. and even the stories I tell about myself from the past. Maybe there's another version I haven't thought of. And so the other day, I literally did a little ceremony and a little funeral service for the old version of who I was. And it was profound. I mean, I don't know what it was. It was like giving myself permission to even totally forget about that person. Not that everything that I've learned doesn't come with me. That is the beautiful thing about letting go. Everything that you've learned in the wisdom space comes with you. Strange that I felt guided to do that. But I also felt totally at peace. And I think it was just a way of opening that door of possibility even wider. I hope that you can hear the bird sounds around me. There's even a nest with 2 hawks nearby. And I think just making sure that I have a couple of minutes every day in nature is that rudder, helps my rudder go into this new space of possibilities. Well, I hope all of that is helpful, or one aspect of it. So I'm going to pull some cards from the Well-Being Cards by Esther and Jerry Hicks. Let's see what comes out. I choose my unique path to joy. No one can create in your experience, for no one can control where you direct your thought. On the path to your happiness, you will discover all you want to be, do, or have. You know, it's quite a profound thing when you realize that you really are the ones. You really are the one managing your thoughts. And it doesn't take away from your experiences of possibly being hurt or whatever, by other people or circumstances. But even amidst all of those things, at the end of the day, what you choose to think about those things shapes the experience, right? So no one can create in your experience except you. Because no one can control your thoughts. And that's that door opening up. Like the thought that you might be more than what you have told yourself, or the stories that you define yourself by, or even the ambitions that you have, which may be limited. And so, what are you going to think about to create how you want to live? I think today I'm really committed to eliminating a fear reaction in my life. And every time I have that fear reaction, I am going to think a thought opposite of that reaction. And I've done this before. In fact, thinking the opposite is how I healed from fibromyalgia, chronic pain. It was really an interesting experiment in owning and recrafting the story. What will you think about today to create the life that you want? So be aware of your thoughts today. And know that everything that you're creating in that thought has a door of options, depending on what you want. Well, have a beautiful day. I hope to be around a little bit more often. And thank you for watching my videos, those of you who do. And if you would subscribe and like the video, I guess that's going to bring them all in, huh? Have a great day. Bye-bye.